Hey there, it's Zach. I'm taking off in life, and life is taking off with me, and I am on my way to go pick up the boy. It's a rainy afternoon, getting out of here a little bit later than usual at least, and I don't know about you guys. I'll say it once, I'll say it twice, say it as many times as it takes. I love the rain. A nice rainy afternoon, a nice rainy day in the world. Watching this guy, he got caught in the rain, miserable. Pants are all wet, shoes are all wet, for sure his shoes are all wet. And that's how it goes sometimes. That's pretty funny. I mean, not for him, maybe. I mean, he seemed like a pretty good sport about it. He's like, yeah, just getting caught in the rain. And that happens. It's kind of funny. I've been caught in the rain before, It happens. Happened to me. It's happened to me on runs too. Like I've been on like a long run and I've just been like, didn't look super great to start, and now it doesn't look great either. And now I'm like really stuck in the rain. Happens to the best of us. So if you ever get caught in the rain, just accept it. If you got an umbrella, awesome. Just enjoy it. Listen to the pitter patter of rain on your umbrella as you move through life. Something about being, I don't know, just kind of at the whim of how it is. And that happens to the best of us, for sure. But it's also just kind of what you got to do in life is just be at the whim of things that happen. And let those things happen, in their own time and in their own way. You can't control it, ultimately. Like, you can't control a rainstorm. You could control how you feel about a rainstorm. You can also control how you feel about the rain and being wet. Like, no one wants to be wet necessarily, but we definitely don't want to be sad. Who wants to be sad? So you could just change your approach about how you feel about rainy weather, or, wet shoes. You can always fix a wet shoe. Maybe not in the moment, but eventually there's solutions to be had. And those are always, it's always nice. It's always nice just to have a change of perspective and a change of shoes, but a change of perspective. It's kind of like listening to the rain on the windshield. Just listen to it. Simple, right? Just a simple, easy, like, you hear the sound of the rain. Sometimes it's sharp and stingy. It doesn't sting, but it's stingy. Like, it's just pointed and needle-like. Sometimes it's really hard and thwoppy, right? I'm just making up sounds, making up the noises with words. And isn't that a beautiful thing? You know what I'm talking about. You know what stingy rain is? Big old fat rain. But it is it is something that you can draw from and be like, oh yeah, I know how that feels. I know what that is. And that's kind of cool to be able to just share a relatable sound, a relatable sensation about the way that the rain sounds or feels, or the way that it makes you feel. I know my dog hates the rain, so for her, it definitely makes her feel a certain way than it makes me feel, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but there is a sense of just like appreciation that the variables, whether it's this person has their blinker on, the left blinker, but they're in the right lane, it's scary. What are you doing out here? It's already raining. You're going to make it more dangerous with bad navigation signs. But anyway, yeah. Just an appreciation of the fact that things are different. Things change. Things vary for different people. And now it's tranquil. Just sit for a second. Let's open up the moonroof. Get a little rain view. Yeah. Goes all the way back to the second row. Oh, yeah. And that's nice. It's nice to have some diversity in our rain portfolio. I was looking at investment stuff and like my 401k. It's just funny to think about diversity in so many other ways and scopes that we don't really consider in our day-to-day life. But like, there's a lot of diversity that we have available to us, and we just need to see it as diversity rather than like, oh, well, that's a lot. Those are too many choices. Like, diversity is can be good in a lot of different ways. It can be bad in some ways if you're talking about, if you're like focused on achieving a goal, whatever that goal is. It's all very individually based, isn't it? The idea that that we want something a certain way or we don't want something a certain way, like, these are all just preferences. And preferences are, they're not that important. I guess this is a little, in a sense, this is the Taoist Buddhist conditioning in me to say, like, well, preferences just aren't that valuable. Like, the third patriarch, I think, the great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. Like, it's such a simple thought to just be at one with the possibilities, which are endless. As you know, we're at the will of possibilities, at the will of the unfolding chances in our lives, which, no one ever asked us how we wanted it to be, and that's totally fine. Like, you don't have to. No one has to get our validation. The universe doesn't get our approval for the way that the world should operate and the universe should operate, and the unfolding conditions that we navigate in our lives and in the lives of our families and our partners. These are just, again, preferences. And preferences are pretty easy to let go of. And the way that things turn out, they can be okay. We can work with just about anything that comes our way. And that's kind of the beautiful thing about life and about this incarnation, is things just fall into place. Even if they're not like what you want, you can work with that. I can work with challenging times. Anyone can work with challenging times. I can work with very little money. I've done it. I've succeeded where, if someone that made $150,000 made $20,000 next year, they would be in a much worse place than I was when I made $20,000. It's this experience of poverty that we can't shake. We feel like the poverty that we experience is financial, when really it's a mindset. It's a poverty of mindset. And this is something that I've learned, that I've grown to understand in time. This is not something that I I knew necessarily at that time, but I knew how to be content at that time. And that's something that, only someone that lives in a space of equanimity can really appreciate, that they can be, that they can find contentedness in just ordinary life. And isn't that just a blessing to be content? To be content with some rainfall. Yeah, we're driving a little slow. It's 35 and a 45, but where do I have to be? I'm going to pick up my son. And when I get there, I'm going to drive just as slow coming home because I want to be safe. I want to be safe for myself. I want to be safe for him too, but I want to be safe for myself. And I want to be safe for, to get him home so he can see his mom again. And those are all totally fine. So there is something very, very special about this sense of understanding that you can't control everything, and you can't even control how you feel, what you think, those thoughts that come out of your brain, and that you say like, oh well, this is how I feel, this is what I believe. Like, if you stop for a moment, you might find that that's not really the truth. Like, that's just how you feel in the moment. But like a deep dig into your real state of mind and your real state of being might teach you something completely different from that. Might teach you something very, very different from the concept that you've somehow bought into. And that's something very special to realize. This is a changing of beliefs. I was once told that someone doesn't want to have anything to do with me, and I asked why. Like, why aren't you involved in my relationship or in this relationship? And they said that they don't want, like, they have broken down ideas, and that I shouldn't be involved in their broken down ideas. But those ideas, those are yours to let go of. You don't have to buy into beliefs that don't serve you any longer. And that's a choice. So consider that as you take the next step in whatever you're doing, however you're thinking. Once you reflect on it, you can see that our lives are much broader and much more, we're much more capable to change our perspectives. And they're just passing. They're not something you have to commit to today and you have to commit to for the rest of your life. It's like this idea, and I'm going to wrap this up because I'm actually already here, but it's like this idea that, let's say someone believed a certain way, or they had this is like common, like people tweet something and then someone digs it up like 10 years ago, like, why'd you say this? And it's like, yeah, I was dumb and I didn't mean that. I see it all the time when I go on Facebook and I see my memories and I'm like, God, why did I say that? I'm such an idiot. But like, there's a recognition that when we grow up, we also grow out of the past beliefs. We grow up from those beliefs. We graduate to a reality where we know better, we know more, and that's what growth is. It's growing out of one belief to recognize that you were wrong, or you just know better. And that's kind of half the battle, is knowing better and then learning from that growth to become the best version of yourself. And that is, again, a lifelong process. What you believe last year, it just doesn't have to be what you believe forever. And no one, if people force you into that box, they're condemning you to be that person. And they don't have that power. It's kind of a funny skit. It's like an Alec Baldwin skit. He's like a child psychologist, and he's like, you can't pay attention to her. He was on a date. You can't pay attention to her because then you've given her the power. And eventually she folds and like gives the child attention. And he's like, and the child's like, Dad, you don't need this woman. She's weak. And like, yeah, but like by giving in to someone's predication that you're a certain way, like you become their slave. And that's just really, that's unfortunate in such a major way. It's such an unfortunate circumstance that not only do people believe this, that you're a certain way, but then you're almost in a prison of their expectations, which is something the Tao says, that don't believe what people say about you or you'll be their slave. Or maybe it's like, don't bend to someone's desires or you'll be a slave to it. Anyway, it's like something about prison. But it's a good one. It's a good one. Something good to dig in and remember, because that's what we should always be doing, is remembering that we're in control of a lot more than we know and we realize, and we should be powerful enough to recall our power. We should recall our strength and our ability to change who we are when we learn that we don't want to be that old thing. Because we can evolve. We are better than that. So let me go in here and get this bloy, and we'll talk about it when I get back. Well, I'm covered in water because it's raining. And Wesley, what do you got to say on the matter? It's okay. He's pretty distraught, but I'm trying to console him. And hi, buddy. Yeah, it's okay. What about just trying to get him to calm down a little bit, because he is just not having it. Yeah, is that better? How's that? Okay. Whew. Man. Great rainstorm. I love it. It's the cat's pajamas, which is, again, kind of comes back to this idea of contentedness in your day-to-day life. You can't really have it unless you open yourself up to the possibility that things unfold as they do, and you can't really control what you can't control. It's not a state of well, that's fine. I did not make the light, but apparently some other people on my right decided to run the light. 2 cars. It's crazy. But you can't control everything. I love the freedom, and I know this is like crazy. Drives Katie crazy. Like, she is so mad about getting things, like in control, which is part of the reason why I'm like, well, you go to the appointments and like you make decisions about these things because it matters more to you. Like, I can't be accountable for everything that happens, and I know that there's some things that like you need to have a say on, but a lot of the things you don't have to have a say on things. I just don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little out of control, and that's a problem, to some extent. But like, you just can't be in control of everything. I have maybe some maturation to do about that, and for some people they might not enjoy it. I know Katie doesn't enjoy it, but there's also something about the very free nature that I'm experiencing in my day-to-day life. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously a problem for her and something that she tolerates because she loves me. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't irritate her. So just a reminder that even though Wesley, hi buddy, hey, shh, 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 Just a reminder that even though this person just cut across 2 lanes of traffic, even though it may not bother you, and this is the case for Kate, for me, like it may not bother me, but like there are some things that I certainly need to come to terms with and come to reality with, and that's like, even though it's not my problem, someone you care about or someone that does care, it's a problem for them. So just like this rain and coming out, like I put Wesley in his car seat, came out into the rain, and of course it was rainy and it was loud, and maybe he doesn't like it. And those are all just things like I can't change the way the rain sounds, but like maybe, hold his hand during the stoplight, and maybe he feels better about that, or, I'll put on some music and maybe he'll feel a little soothed. But these are all things that I can offer, but it's the attentiveness to realize that there's something that you can do versus that you can't do anything. And it's like, I'm still learning, I get, weird. There's not another word, but I get scolded about, not realizing the things I can and can't do in a situation. It's like, well, you didn't even think about this. Why, and yeah, like, I'm fallible. I make mistakes and I forget and I don't realize, and that's a problem for me, and a problem that I work on. Can I work harder? Sure, but we can all work harder. And kind of comes back to the idea of humility, like recognizing that nobody's perfect, and if you were perfect, then you'd have a perfect partner, and that partner would be perfect. And it's like, there's no such thing as a perfect partner. There's no such thing as a perfect situation, no matter how much you commend them for their perfection and the being a wonderful whatever. Like, nothing's perfect. So there's also a sense of just like getting on with it. Like, just get on with it. Get on with the reality that, people are the way they are, and there's nothing that you can do to change someone and make them different or whatever. You can't change anybody. You can't change the way things are. And you can only hope that they become more responsive to your needs and your desires, and be more available to listen to those things, or make actionable choices on your preferences. And it's just wishful thinking, ultimately, at the end of the day, that someone would know, oh, well, if you're going to react this way. Well, is a problem with my decision or with your reaction, or is it a combination of the both? Probably a combination of the both, let's be honest. But these are all things that are worth expanding on. And, what can you change? What can you not change? It all just breaks down to recognition. I think, recognizing those things and having a sense of equanimity about it. Like, what can you do? What can you do? Can you approach a situation with a sense of calm and understanding, and being receptive? Those are good questions. But it's super stormy out here, and I'm in kind of like traffic right now, and I just want to be present for this drive, because people are just getting a little too itchy, and they want to go fast, and then they want to go slow, and it's like, I don't want to be I want to have both hands to drive while I do this. So I'm going to head off, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed the rain and this Carpool Companion here on the 28th of February. The month's closing out, and I hope that you have enjoyed this conversation. I really appreciate you guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. See ya.